Hey Dina, it's Joe Bob 1/2. Couple things I want to correct you on your politics. I'm going to correct as I go along because it's a long video, which are good, but anyway. Okay, first thing I want to correct you on. When we went into Iraq, the House and the Senate both voted for it. The House voted for it 296 yeas, 133 nays, and the Senate voted 77 yeas and like 23 nays. So it's not like Bush said, "Oh, let's go into Iraq. Oh, wait, never mind." Also, what a lot of people forget, the reason why we went in there in the first place is not because Bush thought, I mean, it was because Bush thought that Saddam had weapons of mass destruction, but it was mostly because Saddam had refused half a dozen or a dozen times to allow inspectors into his country. Now, if the UN votes to put inspectors in your country to see if you are having nuclear, having weapons of mass destruction, be them mustard gas, biological warfare, chemical warfare, nuclear warfare, whatever it is. If you refuse to let inspectors into your country half a dozen times, that's pretty darn suspicious. Plus, a lot of people forget is that it wasn't just us. It's not like Bush lied to get us into the war. No. Bush did not lie to get us into the war. The Secret Service, the FBI, the CIA, not just that, Interpol, the Israeli Secret Service, the Russian Secret Service, the British Secret Service, almost all of the Secret Service from around the world, both people who wanted us to go to war and people who did not want us to go to war, all said it was highly possible, highly probable, that Saddam was seeking ways to gain weapons of mass destruction. So it's not like Bush said, "I don't like Saddam because he tried to kill my father, so I'm going to go into the war no matter what." And people don't like you to remember that. Let's connect Saddam to Al-Qaeda. Now, I do not remember. I don't have time to look it up. But if I recall, Bush was not connecting Saddam to Al-Qaeda. What he was connecting him to was terrorism. Now, here's one thing that was true, that nobody ever mentioned, except for, of course, people who are pro-Israel. Saddam paid something to the toll of several $1,000s per head of every suicide bomber that went into Israel and blew themselves up. So, did he have links to terrorism? Yep. Absolutely. Was he that much of a threat to us being America? I don't think so. Was he a threat to our neighbors, our allies, rather? Yep. Oh my god, I didn't know you were actually going to use the "that man tried to kill my daddy" analogy. I just said that actually before. I'm currently watching your video. The privilege of the writ of habeas corpus shall not be suspended unless within cases of rebellion or invasion the public safety may require it. I may have misstated a word or two, but that is the writ of habeas corpus, the thing that Bush has suspended for non-combatants. Or for combatants, rather, for terrorists. For people he decides are terrorists. That's what it says in the Constitution of habeas corpus. Habeas corpus is basically that, each person has a right to a fair trial, etc., etc., etc. Now, Bush has suspended habeas corpus for terrorists. He has interpreted the Constitution, this being an in case of invasion, in which case, it's allowed to suspend habeas corpus. And it's not habeas corpus for everyone, just for terrorists. Or at least who he calls terrorists. Now, I may not like this, but yeah. Now, I want you to do something real quick. Okay, get close to the pause button. Don't hit it yet. Okay. What I want you to do is I want you to think in your head the list of the top 5, or top 3, or whatever, top 5 best presidents of all time. Then I want you to pause my video right after I'm done with the sentence, right after I say now. I want you to pause your video, and then start up after you have your list of 3 or 5 presidents. And starting now. Time up. Okay. I bet Lincoln was probably in that top 5 presidents. And if it wasn't, you're probably thinking, "Oh, darn, I forgot about Lincoln." You know what? Lincoln, during the Civil War, which was a case of rebellion and invasion, he suspended habeas corpus for all citizens. Not just for terrorists, for all citizens. Whoever he felt should not have habeas corpus. Not just for whoever he thought was terrorists. Saying that Saddam was not the nicest person in the world is a drastic understatement. If you want to trade in, it's a dictatorship. Dictatorships tend to be pretty stable. if you want to trade in all of your freedoms and liberties, I mean, of course, dictatorships are not stable during rebellion, but anyway, if you want to trade in all of your freedoms, all of your liberties, for stability, by all means, vote Hitler, vote Saddam, vote Stalin, vote Castro! If you want to trade in all your, if you want to trade in all of your freedoms, but still live in a society where if you say anything against the government, they can smuggle you away, put you in a concentration camp, or not a concentration camp, but, you know, squirrel you away to some gulag, torture you for months on end, and either then shoot you in the head, or just maybe return you to your community as a reminder, by all means, have your stability. But anyway. Oh, did I mention the fact that, Saddam, murdered hundreds and hundreds of thousands of his people? And he let them starve while he lived in gold palaces, and he used mustard gas on his people. That's a weapon of mass destruction that we knew that he used. Everybody thinks that weapons of mass destruction is nukes. Now, of course, it's always possible that in those months and months and months of him telling the inspectors, no, you're not allowed in my country, that he was smuggling them out of the country, and the like. It's always possible. I know that when we went in there, we found many, many, many mass graves of people that he murdered. Mass graves isn't 20. Mass graves is hundreds. Also, the reason why we didn't go into North Korea is because if we invade North Korea, China, which has a population of 1 billion, over 1 billion people, who also makes many of our goods, would attack and blow us up. And that's not something we want. And he is also, the guy from North Korea is also a very bad man. He also lets his people starve, so he can have his nice pretty little nukes. Anyway, Dina, I better shut my mouth before I piss you off. Anyway, I'm sorry. I tend to be a very anti-Saddam because he was anti-Israel. And I tend to have an affinity for the Jewish people, but that's beside the point. Sorry if I made you angry about anything, or, like, pissed you off at all. What time are you usually on Stick AM? Just curious. Because even though I like these videos, you have to go back on, if, you know, for future reference. Yeah, it'd still be nice to, you know, talk to you on Stick AM. That'd be nice. Anyway, that's all. This is Joe Bob. Well, you know who I am. And, you know, I preach always two things. Love and peace. Love and peace.